This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Lovely.
That's that. I am actually Song Sock.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm not Song Sock. I'm wearing, cheat socks. The socks that hide beneath the shoe.
Oh, you're
right.
not. I
A
have
little
such
sort of stop at the ankle ones.
Yeah, and I don't no likey.
No.
You're no likey. I have zero tolerance policy, I'm afraid.
What for the what they call the trainer sock?
I can't bear them. I
Yeah.
really can't bear them. And it's quite England fan in the Crocs.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it? Come
It's
on.
the white slip-on trainer. What happened? And I went on a walking holiday this week. We did me and my partner Kath and my son Boz and our dog walk 69 miles in 3 days.
Wow.
And
That's a lot.
it was, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't courage, it was not being able to read a map. So we thought some distances was about 16 and they turned out to be like 22 and it builds up.
How did the
It
dog
does.
find that length of walk? Notice all I care about is the dog,
Yeah,
not
well,
your
the-
beloved child.
No,
and
the
your
dog
beloved
probably
partner.
walked 200 miles because the dog is constantly encircling, running up things, chasing squirrels, etc., etc.
Well done on resisting the temptation when Emily asked how the dog find it. To not say rough.
I'm not that quick, Al. I'll be straight with you. Well, it was on the day after the dog was like a pajama case. It just didn't move at all. And we thought we'd killed it. That was terrible.
okay.
But they don't have as much weight to carry as your grown-ups.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was what happened is I'm going to use the term heat rash on breakfast radio. So the ankles are a bit red and swollen, so I thought I'd let some air to them. But I look a bit like someone who's gesturing towards hipsterdom, which I don't want to do.
Well, I'm of the age when someone hasn't got socks on, I immediately think of Miami Vice. Which,
Oh, man. And the slightly turned up sleeve on the jacket. I haven't got that.
I tend to think of Man United. Do you remember? I remember there was a photograph of them all at a screening that Alex Ferguson had organised. No doubt it
Okay.
was Seabiscuit. Because
Yeah.
I believe, is that one of the only
That was his favourite film.
That's his
I
favourite
believe.
film. And only film he likes, I think.
No,
and,
that's Michael Owen.
well, I know all about that because I was at Michael Owen's house this week.
Wow.
Thank you.
You didn't go to Michael Owen Road, did you? The road where he bought all the terraced houses for his
The
family.
cul-de-sac, yeah. I didn't go to that, but yeah, I've confirmed I know all his films. The 8 films.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember he tweeted?
He hasn't added to them since, because that was 3 years ago. He hasn't watched a film since.
No, it was brilliant. His daughter was going, why do you hate films? Why won't you watch films? Because he tweeted #hate films. Do you remember? It was, the films he's seen are Heat, Cool Runnings, Jurassic Park, Rocky, Seabiscuit. I can't remember the other 3.
No, but I
Obscure on
think
so many.
you've given us a flavour. No, Sir Alex Ferguson was saying he was defending himself as seen as a football sort of obsessive. And he said, well, Arsene Wenger, on a Tuesday night, he's watching like Bundesliga on the telly. He said, I've got a much more broader view of the life. He said, my favourite film is Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
It's about horse racing. You go that far. The apple falls that far from the tree, Sir Alex. Anyway, I don't know how we got to that. But
Because
I
I
don't
was
have
name dropping about going to Michael Owen's house, who I love, by the way.
No, that's...
So,
and also, I've always been... I feel that hipsters have done serious damage to the British sock manufacturing industry. I think that's perhaps irreparable. So, happily, the British moustache wax industry has benefited from them. So, swings and roundabouts.
Frank Skinner on
Radio.
So, yes, I went on a walking holiday. I started off on Monday, me and the family started off in a place called Hawkesbury Upton, which ought to be a character in an Oscar Wilde short story. So Hawkesbury Upton will be arriving later.
Mr. Upton.
And we walked to a place called Dursley, which apparently is where J.K. Rowling got the name for the Dursley family, or a sort of dislikable family that Harry lives with. Yeah, she didn't like Dursley much, so she punished that place by naming like the bad guys after
yes,
her.
I'm aware of this, Frank, because someone has tweeted something from some local gazette saying comedy legend spotted in Dursley.
Who is it?
Oh, Frank.
Comedy legend.
Comedy legend. What I like is spotted in.
Yeah, what I like is it makes me sound like King Arthur.
Well, it gets even more Arthurian
Yes.
because it says, the caption next to the picture of you says, a comedy legend was spotted in Dursley in recent days.
Oh, okay.
Recent days?
That made the Gazette.
Frank Skinner surprised staff, customers and residents as he spent the night at Ye Olde Dursley Hotel
Oh, yes.
whilst walking the Cotswold Way with his wife, sons and dog.
Wow. It's all there.
Listen to
Blimey.
this. He admired the hospitality. Did you?
Did you?
I did.
Warm welcome.
Well, I said I admired the hospitality. We went out for a takeaway, but they did let us eat it in the breakfast room.
Oh, that's nice.
Listen to this. I won't go on about this, but it is rather brilliant. He commented on how quaint and friendly Dursley was.
I never said quaint. I never spoke to anyone about it.
According to the hotel owner, Stavros Antonio, who greeted the comedian and his family, Mr. Skinner was said to have been polite, humble, and absolute gentleman.
Well, there you go. That's fabulous. I didn't know about that.
I have to finish with this.
Absolute Gentleman is a station that we're launching later today.
Frank, listen to this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we'll be selling shaving products.
Can I share this with you? The family went up to their room to freshen up. And came back down to have a walk around town.
Wow.
Wow. Even more walking.
Yeah, not a
Can't get
detail. That's,
There you go.
I like that the manager of Ye Olde Dursley Hotel sold his story to the local Gazette. What's his cater for and tell story?
Also, what have you got on Skinner then? Well, he went to his room to freshen up before coming down for some food.
I have to say of Ye Olde Dursley Hotel, which actually has the word ye, literally. I believe ye is a mistake, generally. That was... there's a Middle English letter, I think it's the thorn, which means the sound. But in some of the surviving manuscripts, the top was cut off it, so it looked like a Y. And so people thought it was ye, but it was never ye. So as I understand it, no one has ever said ye until about 1850, and people thought, oh yeah, we'll call it Ye Olde.
It's,
But anyway,
it's a little quaint, I find. What about you, Frank?
I would never say quaint. That is such a
Hotel owner
patronising.
Stavros Antonio says different.
Good old Stavros. I didn't know. They did a great bacon and egg sandwich the next day. And a very interesting fact about eggs was given to me by the man who cooked the breakfast, which I will give to you. I will share with all of you after this.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now, I was having breakfast at Ye Olde Dursley Hotel, and the man said, I don't know what's happened with eggs. He said, but when I started cooking, you could do a hard-boiled egg in 8 minutes. He said, now something's happened.
Oh.
And he said it needs more than that now. He said there's been a distinct change over the last 10 years or so. And I said, do you think it could be like climate change is having an effect on you? And he said, no. So he said, we blame everything on that. Taking it very... he said, I think something's happened to the egg industry. That they take longer to hard boil. Well, this is a... I mean, you heard it here first. This is quite big news, isn't it?
Forgive the pun, it's breaking news.
It is.
Very good, Al.
But, we're all trying to save on gas and electricity. You can see we're fighting a losing battle if the eggs are taking longer to hard boil.
That's going to end up in the Gazette.
Yeah.
Alongside, can I point out, you're just underneath the story, embarrassed man stopped from filling up at Tesco petrol station over little known rule.
Oh, okay.
Your stories, I don't know what that rule was. But what I like, Al, this is rather awkward.
There's a terrible photo for a start off of me.
It's one of the worst photographs. I consider Frank a very attractive man. However, if you were to judge him solely based on this photo, I think you would come away, you would draw unfortunate conclusions.
It's hard in the walking gear, though, isn't it?
No,
it's not always tough. I went on a walking break this week and in a hoodie and a fleece and with my greying beard, we had a day out and I looked like the Chinese dissident artist Ai Weiwei.
Oh, wow.
That's good. That's good.
That's a great looking like that.
Yes, it's an odd thing.
How far did you do, Al? Not trying to be competitive.
Oh, no, nowhere near as much as you guys, but we weren't even using maps. We were just doing little... we were in the Eden Valley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Al, I really wish...
How Adam and Eve of you.
I wish Al was interviewed by, say, sort of Heat magazine and who's your celeb look-alike?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great, wouldn't it? Ai Weiwei.
And of course mine, as you know. Do you know mine?
Is it you used to say that you would become the lady from Birds of a Feather?
Yes,
Leslie Joseph.
Yeah, when you say that ship has sailed.
Oh, okay.
You also said Brian Clough at one point. Or Nigel Clough.
Nigel Clough, yeah.
Yeah, Nigel Clough is a fabulous.
Can I just tell you this, Al? Underneath the headline, I will stop going on about this piece in about 8 years.
I was hoping I'd talk you out of this, but go on.
Comedy legend spotted in Dursley is the headline. There's then a photograph, one of the worst photographs ever taken of Frank Skinner. A comedy legend was spotted in Dursley in recent days.
I ought to be holding up a number in front of me and have my height chart behind me on the wall. That's what I look like.
Underneath that, Al, as you know, online newspapers tend to have sort of, algorithms which deliver targeted ads which they feel are relevant to that particular news story. Do you want to know what the algorithm has thrown up underneath a picture of Frank Skinner?
I do. Bristol
care homes. We are a small group of 4 high-quality care homes in Bristol.
Well, I look forward to my invite. I mean, it's, yeah.
Give us a discount, Frank.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky I got a care homes advert from the local funeral directors, might be more apt.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Emily's just giggling now. This is not radio, is it?
I'm so sorry. Can I tell you why, Al?
Yeah.
It's because of some of the correspondence we've had in relation to comedy legends spotted in Dursley in recent days. Gordon Bagwell, it's unfortunate they didn't wake Frank up for this picture. Joel Walsh, we know where you're going to be spotted in 5 years' time. Imagine a residency.
What does that mean?
They want you to have a residency, like a
okay.
Las Vegas residency.
That'd be great.
We've also had Daydreamer has pointed out, spotted the journalist's name on the piece. It simply says trainee reporter.
You see, what's happened there? It's not a big enough story to go to one of their hotshot journos at the, what's the paper called? Dursley Gazette.
Yeah, I believe so.
So,
It's not gone to Ben Bradley.
I feel a bit like I've gone for my haircut at the student haircut place. You know, where they do it cheap because they're learning how to cut hair.
Oh, yeah.
Who were you expecting to write it? Norman Mailer.
That would have been good.
We've also had, on the subject of eggs, Al, Marie has got in touch to say, I've been wondering about this for years. In the 70s, a soft-boiled egg was 3 minutes. Now it needs at least 6.
Yeah.
I, too, want to understand why. Thanks. Smiley face.
Wow. Have I stumbled upon something? Is it a bit like in the southern hemisphere, the water going down the plug hole?
Yeah.
Anti-clockwise?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, if I'd been told we were going to talk about eggs at Easter weekend, this is not how I thought it would play out.
It never occurred to me
are.
that it's Easter, but yeah, that's absolutely perfect.
We've also heard from Paul G. You were...
Gina's brother.
Who are just a little bit. Re, ye and thee.
Oh, I bet I've got this wrong. I was really I did Middle English at Birmingham Polytechnic in about 1980, so I was really dragging back my memory, so I've got it wrong.
Re, ye and thee. My triplets. It is indeed to do with the Thorn letter.
So far so good. Safari so goody, as Christopher Biggins used to say.
But it's because when the first printed books began appearing in Britain, they were printed in Europe, which didn't have it in their alphabet.
Didn't have the thorn.
So it was replaced with a Y. Okay?
Okay, so I was very close.
It was so close.
The point was we never said ye.
No.
Even only Dursley is. I'll tell you what I did. I was genuinely excited. I didn't know existed. William Tyndale, who translated the Bible into English at tremendous personal risk, ending ultimately in incineration, has got his own tower, a massive tower which me and Boz climbed to the top of near Stinchcombe. And
was Thorpe Park closed?
well,
On your walking holiday, you did
Daddy,
tower climb.
Daddy, where are we going this weekend? Everyone else is going to the fair. We're climbing the incinerated William Tyndale's tower.
yeah. Well, it
Are
was
you
a
my
bit.
father in disguise?
It was a bit like that. But you know, who wants a blue plaque when you can have a tower? It's a biggie, and it's not high on the hill. You can see it from miles away. I might put up a picture.
How long did it take to climb them?
Oh, we were up it like a couple of ferrets into a rabbit hole. It was great, though. I'm seriously, I loved it. And if you take the statue industry at the moment, I would say was in bust rather than boom. I think towers might be the way forward. I'm hoping for one in Dursley.
Well, as Ultra Magnus has pointed out about that photo,
Yeah.
it's a bit, they're treating me well.
It's exactly. Yeah, I've got human shield written all over.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Oh, there's some sceptics in our midst, actually. 597, Simon of Sudbury, who's one of our regular correspondents, has texted, are the egg conspiracy theorists saying that they've meticulously kept to the same size pots and volume of water for decades?
Does that make a difference if it's
Of course.
boiling? Oh, I see, because you think people have started doing them in bigger saucepans.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what
Suggests
he's
it's a
suggesting.
lack of trust in the British public.
He's
Yeah.
looking for a control group, isn't he? That's what
It reminds me of when Bruce Forsyth used to start a joke by saying, "So I got up this morning. I put the kettle on. I got up this morning, and I put the kettle on. So I put the kettle. You think trust them a bit more, Bruce? Trust them a bit more than that." I think we are onto something, and the cynics can have their opinions on boiling eggs as well, but it's there's too many witnesses now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can only eat my own eggs.
That's probably the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. Is it a quote from some Arthur C. Clarke dystopian novel?
Yeah, it's Jurassic Park thing. No, I can't. I can't. Eggs make me. I know a lot of people have this. I'm a little bit phobic about them. They turn my stomach a bit, and I can only eat it if I've prepared them. And actually, my best friend Jane, if she prepares eggs, I can eat those. Other than that, I'm out.
So you wouldn't egg out?
I wouldn't have your eggs. No offence.
No, well, fair enough.
I have a totally different version of that. I never cook poached eggs at home, but I eat them out if somebody else is going to go to all that trouble. I'll let a chef do it.
Do you remember those things that were actual like poaching pans that the egg would sit in? And also, what about the theory that if you put vinegar in the water, the egg doesn't spread?
Yeah.
What's your worst kind of egg, preparation-wise?
8, 12, 15, that's today's text.
It is Easter, as you say. When you say preparation, you mean actually doing it?
What's your worst egg style?
Well, I've never managed to scramble.
Never. What do you mean that's the easiest one?
In an omelette? I just get an omelette. It doesn't sort of separate up.
An omelette is significantly harder than a scramble.
No, but I've worked at the omelette. That was my lockdown skill. I started making omelettes.
The scramble requires no work.
I can't do a scramble.
Bread, but Frank went for omelettes.
Yeah, exactly. Some people learn Spanish guitar. You got to lower your sights a bit.
Do you want to know my worst?
Go on.
You don't sound like that interested.
No, sorry, I got a little bit of a hot cross bun stuck in my tooth. The cross was a lot more durable than the rest of the bun, and I'm still working on the cross.
My worst is fried.
Oh no, that's my favourite.
There's always a filmy gloop on the top.
No, you got to flick the hot fat on. That's what you got to do.
Al, what's your worst egg?
I like a lot of eggs. You might be unsurprised to hear. I ate fried bread the other day, Emily.
Do you like them devilled?
I've never had devilled.
I don't know what it means, but I've been given a devilled egg.
Isn't that when you put a cross on it?
What about when you get someone like Wagamama, you get a tea-stained egg?
Oh, that's odd.
I mean, how does that happen? I went to Mackie D's the other day. And I got...
Sorry, the producer has comprehensively lost it, Al, at the idea of Frank going to Mackie D's.
There's a takeaway. And when I got back, I'd got like cheeseburger, chips and a cup of tea. And the tea had leaked into the bread.
So you got tea from McDonald's?
Yeah, so I had a tea-stained Big Mac with cheese. And it was squidgy with the tea. The tea had made it like...
Who buys tea from... Oh, I really fancy a cup of tea. I know where I'll go.
I'll tell you something. You get better tea from Mackie D's than you do from one of London's finest restaurants. That is absolutely a fact.
Yeah, but what about Dursley?
People in posh restaurants can't make tea. You heard it here first.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Anyway, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
We've had a little joke in on the texts. 812 has said, Al says he went out looking like Ai Weiwei. I hope he did this properly and followed the Ai Weiwei code.
That's fair. He should write a book called the Ai Weiwei Code, shouldn't he?
He should.
He doesn't strike me as the type that would...
Who loves a pun? No, maybe he doesn't. Maybe. Do you remember when he had those... they were like ceramic... seeds that you had to wade through at Tate Modern, and then they found that they were emanating this dust which was killing people.
Oh, I thought you were going to say M&Ms, because I know you like an M&M.
I think he had to go in with the Scotch Guard. Sorry, Al?
It can't have been killing people.
Well, it was making people cough.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you got to allow me a bit of embroidery
Yeah, but
on
the
a yarn.
it doesn't take much to make people cough at the Tate. Running out of quinoa.
Yeah, well, they staged a lot of school medicals there for a start off. I don't know. Do you get that, Em?
What?
It's not really a girls' school medical joke. Boys used to have to cough in the school
I know
medical.
what the coughing is.
All
because
right.
It's, okay. No, but I know that from sort of carry-on films.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
They're an endless source of info.
Yeah. What's that rustling, Al? Sound like you've got a... What's going on?
I think it might have been me moving around. Sorry.
Oh, Al's moving around again.
Was he ruffling
Yeah.
through a bag?
I think it's a theme, by the way, on Absolute this week has been the temporary clock we've got in the studio. I think Dave Berry hit social media with it. Basically, no anxiety amongst the presenters, but it looks like they haven't paid for the digital clock. And so we've got one that's got all sorts of warnings on it. No Grace events remaining is one of them, which Grace Jones should use that on her last, when the gig, instead of Elvis has left the building, that should go up on the stage.
Well, it just instead of the sold out across the tickets.
I'll tell you what it's got a feel of, this clock. You know when you download a free app and
Oh,
it says
yeah.
in-app purchases?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like we need to buy the full clock, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And it says in big red letters, unlicensed version.
Yes.
Now, that does sound a bit more worrying.
You have to license now time.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it used to say on the speaking clock, the time sponsored by Accurist? And I used to think, wow, someone sponsored the time.
Oh, the man with the it sounded very much like one of my parents who'd been let go from the RSC.
Yeah, exactly. He played Claudius at the RSC in '68, and it never.
Now he was reduced to the speaking clock and the odd Dalek role. Sorry, Frank.
It's a tough business.
Sorry. Can I share this with you? We've heard via email from Paul Thomas Walsh,
Okay.
who I like the sound of.
PTW.
He sounds like he might write the great American novel.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you like? Saul Bellow, Paul Thomas Walsh?
P.T. Walsh, he should call himself. I
P.T.
think.
Walsh.
As in Barnum, I think, was a PT as well.
Yeah.
He was. Hello, Frank, Emily and Alan. Last week, Frank spoke about John Travolta popping up in Fakenham. However, at one point, Frank referred to John Travolta frequenting not a fish restaurant, but rather a fish food restaurant. Now, this perplexed me. Has the culinary world been able to widen the appeal of fish food to such an extent that humans may now eat it? Or is this some new way of articulating the type of food that may be on offer in a restaurant? I thought fish restaurant was the common parlance for such an establishment. Because it was said with no comment or challenge from the team, I couldn't help but wonder if perhaps Frank, not for the first time, was maybe trying to start a trend with his use of words, Coulsdon, etc. Yours in fish food-based curiosity, Paul Thomas Walsh in Berlin.
Well, wow, in Berlin. Well, I made a mistake, basically. I think I reached for seafood restaurant and only got as far as its inhabitants. I don't used to think John Travolta got into some tank and they sprinkled above him.
He did. He played Man from Atlantis.
The idea of him extending his lips upwards to take that dry stuff off the top and then maybe going to have to take some plankton in. Oh, John, where did it all go wrong?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So after Ye Olde Dursley Hotel, which I liked, it was down to earth, staff very lovely, and also had a fantastic bacon and egg sandwich on for the breakfast.
Yeah.
You know, when you have a bacon and egg sandwich, you got to roll your sleeves up a bit because the yolk often makes its way down your forearms.
Yeah.
That's why I just won't bother with them.
Oh, it's fantastic. But it was very different at the next place. For a start off, Ye Olde Dursley Hotel, 75 quid a night. Falcon in Painswick, 175 quid a night. So, you know.
Did you see the difference?
You could see the difference.
You can taste the difference?
Yeah, it was... it's what I believe they call is a foodie place.
All right.
You don't like that, though, do you, generally?
No, well, it was. I had a great burger and chips on the night, but they had things like lavender spray on the bedside table to help you to sleep.
Oh,
Nice.
I know the type.
Oh man, it was fabulous. Like
Probably didn't need it if you'd walked 25 miles that day.
No, exactly.
Be out like a light.
I think they'd seen a picture of me in the Gloucester Gazette and thought I'd probably like lavender on my pillow.
Well, Bristol care homes are already preparing that for you.
Yeah, and there was an Albus oil sampler. And there was muscle relaxant salts on the bad side as well.
Oh, that's
it
nice.
it was a different world. It really was a different world. But when I had poached egg, continuing our Easter egg theme, and what they did was the toast they'd cut into a circle. I'd guess with the sort of laser that was James Bond was threatened with in Goldfinger.
I don't like to eat at a restaurant where they cut corners.
Come on, very good.
It was like eating, if you can imagine a bread CD.
Yeah.
Circular bread. I don't like that.
No, but it's obviously been square bread because it had no crusts on it. So I don't know what happened with the spread. Maybe they make a nice bread and butter pudding as a dessert.
That's a good
I don't know.
idea.
But I wasn't. I missed the corners. Jeff Astle, the great West Bromwich Albion player. I've told you this before, but he had a window cleaning business, and the slogan on the van said, "Jeff Astley never misses the corners," which is
Very good.
very, very fine. So we went posh for that bit. And speaking of posh, this is how David Beckham begins his stories. Do you think he ever calls her posh? I bet he does, doesn't he, light-heartedly?
I wonder.
I hope he does.
I bet he does. Oh, posh.
Oh, don't. That sounds a bit horrible.
Anyway, so I went
Also,
to...
I'm Michael Owen obsessed now. That's my new obsession.
Fair enough. I went to see The Handmaid's Tale, the opera.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Did you go with a friend?
No, I went on my own. You can't always... I was invited, and it was we were in quite a little room before. There was orange juice and fine wines, and
Orange juice, quite 70s.
yeah.
Who serves that at events now? What else did you get?
Well, I'm always looking for the soft drinks. Obviously.
Melon Parma ham.
What a double act they were. Did they do Bake Off? Was that them?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've got a couple of correcciones I'd like to deal with.
Two.
Brief.
Go on.
Ultra Magnus, one of our
yes.
regulars. Correccione. Surely scorpions sting as opposed to biting. Frank had referenced earlier that his...
Okay. No, this particular one.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
His mother-in-law was bitten by a scorpion, in case you missed that.
No, she was stung by one.
She was stung, I do apologise, whilst on holiday with...
With Brian Malco from Placebo.
Okay. Can you leave them alone? They're just trying to behave like any other normal family.
I wonder if she was given real drugs for that sting.
I love Sandy Basin. Another correccione. This time aimed at me.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Never let it be said that I can't take criticism.
Okay. What do you mean from now on we can't say that?
From now on.
Me and Al are always saying it to each other.
From this day forward. Carry on as you were.
Yeah,
but from this day
what a film that was.
Correccione, Emily. I don't think Travolta was ever Man from Atlantis.
No, but
It was.
no, it was.
Remember?
Yes, it was Duffy. Is he called? Duffy.
Very
Patrick
good.
Duffy. Well
Patrick
done,
Duffy.
Frank.
No, I tell you where I think that came from is
I know.
because he had lobster bisque, dressed crab, and baked lobster. I suggested he
Yeah.
might be in training to play the man from Atlanta. Because let's face it, the way to make a film nowadays is not to come up with an original idea. It's to think what used to be on telly that we can do as a film.
Yeah.
And so there will be a man from Atlantis, will there not?
They don't do new things.
And it also gives a star a chance to show off their bod and.
What
and
is
all
it
that.
Stephen Sondheim said about the musical, Frank?
He said he was talking about jukebox musicals when people do like an ABBA musical or a
Yeah.
Queen musical. And he said, I tried to write musicals where people whistle the tunes on the way out, not on the way in.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Stephen. Dear Stephen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dear. Anyway, listen. So I'm at the opera.
so I like that I'm saying, dear Stephen Sondheim. Anyway, I'm at the opera. You've changed, Frank.
I'm in the Royal Reception Room at the English National
are you?
Opera, which has got.
Oh, is this when you're having the orange juice?
Yeah,
Bring him down to earth.
I got. It
Well,
was
that's what
quite
he was having,
fancy.
orange juice.
Quite fancy, individually bottled with an Italian title.
Did
Orange
you get any
juice.
food?
There was nuts, but I didn't. Sticking my teeth too much. You don't want to go. You don't want to be talking to Dame Janet Baker with a not gum shield.
Do you get souvenir
No.
programs?
Oh yes. Anyway, Dame Janet Baker. I don't know if you're aware. Is a very famous opera singer. I'm daring to say of yesteryear.
Okay.
And she did a speech, which was great. She really is opera royalty. Actually, there was a signed picture of Princess Alexandra on the wall as well, who presented West Brom with the FA Cup in '68. Special moment for me. But she talked about, not being in opera anymore, and now she talked about the camaraderie, and that was the thing that she missed most of all. And I thought, this is like one of the queens of opera, and when she speaks about her opera days, she's basically saying, I miss the banter. Which is what footballers always say, which I kind of love there. And then there was a moment when Dame Janet, the woman who starred as Offred in The Handmaid's Tale, was a woman called Kate Lindsay, brilliant, and she came in full dress, the bright red robes and all that, quite shocking, into the room just to sort of pay homage to Dame Janet. And they stood talking, and I thought it was a bit like when I met... in a Birmingham pub, I bumped into Paul Henry, who played Benny from Crossroads. And we spoke, and I realised people were just staring in awe, in shock and awe. It's a fabulous moment. And a bit like when Mephisto, in the film Mephisto, shakes hands with the Nazi commandant. But that's not such a good
Absolute Radio.
analogy.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Lee Thomas says the kids are watching Waffle Dog. Are you familiar with that?
No.
On CBBC.
Okay.
Oh, is that the thing, Reese? Oh, no, he's with another dog. Reese Stevenson.
He's with
Another dog.
Hacker.
Oh, very good. A bit of nominative determinism at work. Do you know who provides the dog's voice for Waffle Dog?
Nominative
I'll let you and Al think
determinism.
about that.
Ronnie
Fred.
Barker.
Fred Waffle.
No.
Okay.
Fido Dido.
Rufus Hound.
Oh, very good. Do you remember Fido Dido? He used to have a lot
Yeah.
of merch, but I don't know. One of those rare things. I only knew the merch. I didn't know the origin of the merch.
Is that a big red dog? I only know the merch.
No, Fido Dido got like a crazy young Einstein hairstyle. I had a notepad, a Fido Dido, but who was he? Who was Fido Dido? 8, 12, 15. I'm looking for a biog.
In my youth, before I was an Ai Weiwei lookalike, I was actually a Fido Dido lookalike. When I was
Were you?
17, I was like a gangly, sort of scrawny sketch character with spiky hair. Quite Fido Dido.
Is that the cartoon you most looked like as a child when you were younger?
Or the guy from Scooby-Doo, I suppose.
I was quite Dora the Explorer.
Oh, okay.
Little bobbed Anna Wintour hair.
Yeah.
What about you, Frank?
It's a very good question. What was it? I think I was sort of Casper, slightly translucent and with a stupidly big forehead.
Great house, though.
But we're all different, but friendly. What happened to that? What happened to that characteristic of mine?
What friendliness?
Yeah, very humble, according to Ye Olde Dursley Hotel.
Yeah.
Was it that Winston Churchill said of Clement Attlee? He has a lot to be humble about.
Frank, I was
Clement Attlee, can I just say, was famously boring, the the first Labour Prime Minister. And they used to say a thing that they were at an event, an empty cab turned up and Clement Attlee got out. I mean, it's cruel.
Can I say...
Did great things, though.
Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's got a sort of little bit of shade in that title and other ghosts, I feel. You're right.
Exactly.
It's very passive-aggressive. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah, not like, the menacing, the accusatory ghosts like Marley and stuff like that, who are... Intimidation is their trade, their stock in trade.
Do you think they had to do that just to reassure children that ghosts... They were sort of reclaiming the ghost, really.
Yeah, I think they're probably... And also they were getting past that thing about how come their clothes have come back from the dead as well. By I think he's naked, isn't he?
He's not naked, Frank.
Isn't he naked?
Frank, he wears like a white...
daytime.
Frank, he wears like a white sheet thing.
Doesn't he?
Have a body.
I thought that was his ectoplasm.
What has he?
Or as they say on Easter Saturday, ectoplasm. Sorry, the producer's actually punching me in the back. Okay. I'm going to have to go.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you've inadvertently lit up the switchboard with your Fido Dido chat.
And that's a real, genuine inquiry. I would honestly like to know Fido's backstory.
Well,
I may call him Fido.
Several people have texted the show to say Fido Dido was the 7-Up drink character. I think he's from an advertising campaign.
Oh, no.
No.
I know.
By the way, we don't work with 7-Up.
No.
They've not gifted us 7-Up.
I don't even like it much.
I don't mind it, but they wouldn't...
Sometimes I drink it and call it lemonade. That's how dismissive I am of it.
Yes, indeed. In fact, funnily enough, when we were at the Falcon Hotel, Painswick, the waiter said to Boz, we got every drink. What drink do you want?
What does he say?
Any drink you say. And I thought he's going to say butterbeer, and that's going to turn the whole thing. I don't know if you've ever had butterbeer, the Harry. Oh, God, it's really nice. Anyway, he said, I really like lemonade.
Oh, I
and
love
the guy
that.
said, we've got 7-Up. So everyone's operating on the same theory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you don't really serve... I mean, lemonade, they tend to serve that Eolde... Probably would have got that in the other hotel, Frank.
Eolde Dursley, maybe, yeah.
You get Eolde lemonade.
From the sort of the petrol pump. You know when you get the petrol pump pop that comes out the actual
and
nozzle.
Served by a lady with an off-the-shoulder top.
If you're lucky.
Oh, God.
Great days.
Gypsy.
Great days.
Gypsy blow.
What, when you say great days, are you talking about the Middle Ages?
Yeah.
Okay.
And off the shoulder tops, that sort of stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've also had a cookery tip messaged.
Hold on, did we get to the... That was it with Fido Dido. That's
What else did
definitely
you want from Fido Dido?
Well, he
You asked
might
for
have
his
arrived.
backstory, and I think I've given you it. I don't know what else I can do.
He might have arrived at 7-Up via,
wanna
there's
know
some
about
original...
Mr. and Mrs. Dido.
I mean,
What is this?
Is this the sort of Davro? Exactly. He'll tolerate these
is that his-
Jadoon people in the Doctor Who who are just rhinos who'd have no personality traits whatsoever.
That's not true. They're very, very officious. No, but was he embraced by 7-Up? Did he already exist pre that advertising campaign?
I think there's a bit of debate there, but I think a lot of the text-ins are basically saying he started
Ow.
with 7-Up.
Let me just have a look. I'm just
Perhaps
going to go and
they
have a look at Fido Dido, the origin story. and
Perhaps
see
he
if I
was
can
in.
find it on
Was he in that ITV series 7-Up? He was one of the children who was chosen. It was a radical idea at the time that one of the children chosen to follow through life was a cartoon. Just to see how animation affects a child's development.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is what did I say? Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily
So
Dean.
what do I say?
I was going to say the Frank Skinner Show, but I'd never say that. Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Well done. I mean, it sounded a bit red to me.
Yeah, it was a bit. It wasn't my
I've been
best.
doing this over a decade.
Yeah, it wasn't my best housekeeping read through, but there we
Anyway,
go.
Let's move along. I'd like to speak to you about Al Pacino.
I bet you would. He's been in the news, all right.
He has Jason Momoa, who's an actor. He's definitely in the sort of hench, muscly actor chair, isn't he?
And unusual eyebrows chair.
Is
I
he?
didn't know there was one of those.
Super raised eyebrow.
Oh,
Oh, come on, you must know the eyebrow chair. Healy
That's a
was in it,
surprise.
obviously. For oh, very
Is it
good.
for big eyebrows?
It's for unusual eyebrows. They're remarkable.
Roger Moore must have been in the eyebrow
Oh.
acting chair.
There you go.
That's
Liam Gallagher.
Okay.
I'm always, there's always someone sitting in there.
Yeah.
Momoa's there for me right now.
I don't really know Momoa's work.
Game of Thrones, you won't know. Oh, I'll tell you what he'll know him for, Al. There's that show, it's a bit like Stingray, Frank. It's like Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, he plays Aquaman.
Yeah, I think so,
Oh,
yeah.
of course I know him, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
no.
he has got unusual eyebrows. You're quite right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, I love Aquaman.
Oh, I suddenly
Anyway,
feel seen.
He shared a picture of a celebration that he'd had at dinner, and Al Pacino is in this picture. Hoo-ah! Do you remember when everybody used to do that as an Al Pacino impression from Scent of a Woman?
No.
Hoo-ah!
I'll tell you
That was
something.
basically all you needed as an Al Pacino impression.
Before we get into this, I was talking to a guy who worked a lot with he was like a sort of he was involved in films.
Yes.
And he worked on, I think, publicity stuff with a lot of really big, proper, massive Hollywood stars. And he said, without doubt, the guy who caused the biggest stir wherever you went with him, as people desperate for photos, and was Pacino. He said that seemed to be the real wow. And I mean, he'd work with them all, as they say.
Yeah.
Right.
That surprised me. So he's got a lot of pull, Pacino.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's in this picture, and people have zoomed in on it, as is the way in the Smedes now, the social medias,
Yeah.
and they've found out that he's got a Shrek phone case.
That's right.
I mean, I know it's not the biggest news in the world, but it's
the best.
It's still worthy of discussion, isn't
What
it?
I like, Al, is that the event he was at with the Shrek iPhone or any other phone case, I think it might have been a Samsung he had, actually, they discovered. There's been a lot of forensic looking. So, just to be clear, we're naming every brand. It was a dinner for celebrated contemporary American painter Julian Schnabel.
Okay.
And he turned up with the Shrek iPhone case.
There's a sort of Sherlock Holmes unravelling to be done here.
Do you think Al Pacino stole his phone off a 12-year-old girl or something? Is that what you're...
I think, I mentioned shock and awe before. I think it's a sort of shock and awe test because he must be used to people thinking, oh man, it's Al Pacino.
Yeah.
And I think he'll know that he's still held in that kind of reverence until someone says, "Hold it, have you got a Shrek phone case?" Right. So it's a sort of a challenge. I bet no one says to him, "How come you've got a Shrek phone case?" And as long as they know that, you'll know that he's held in high respect. That's my theory.
Clever.
Well, I'll tell you about it after. I've got an item which I think might fall into this category. I mean, I don't have the macho image to keep up that Pacino does, but
I said nothing.
I've got a pencil case that turns a few heads.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So my pencil case
Oh, my.
is Britney Spears.
No.
So it's see-through, except it's got a pink back and then a big face of sweet Britney period.
Right.
Are you joking? You
No, I'm
actually
completely.
got-
Yeah, and it was when I interviewed Britney, we got some of her merch in, and it caught my eye.
That was about 1998.
Yeah, it's still going strong. I would like one because she's had some distinct phases. There was sweet Britney, and then there was shaved Britney, and then large drink from McDonald's Britney. Used to have a picture of her on it, and then of course hostage Britney. I'd like a sort of a shaved Britney pencil case. That would have been.
Can
Brilliant.
I tell you, I'm most shocked that you still have a pencil case because you're not 12.
No, but I travel, you see, and I need, obviously I need my work tools.
When you say obviously,
It's like a chef carrying his knives. I got to have.
Al, do you have a pencil case?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either. I think you'll find most people don't. I mean, it's adorable. Do you have a protractor and a compass in
I've
there?
also got if I'm away longer and I need to go bigger than the Britney, I've got a Tintin pencil case.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Maybe
thought-
go Fido Dido next time.
I thought it was the. I don't know if you can still get the FD merch, but we'll check it out. So I think that's what happens. Hasn't he got a free one from somewhere? Do you think? He won't have gone into one of those stalls you get on the market.
I think he will have gone into one of those shops. He's in Camden Town.
Do you think someone said, "Al, would you like a free Shrek iPhone case?" And he went, "Ooh, ah."
I must say, it was a very left field marketing idea. If somebody sent, we got those new Shrek phone cases. What celeb shall we send? What about Al Pacino? He'll be showing it off.
He's a hashtag influencer.
Yeah, exactly. That is a left field marketing suggestion that's paid off.
But
That's
you know
right
what?
up there with the person who sent the sheriff's badge to Janet Jackson before the Super Bowl.
But you know what? It's paid off. Sometimes, you know what it is? It's disruptive marketing.
I bet everyone's buying those now. Do you think everyone's getting the Shrek pen?
Maybe.
Not the Janet Jackson sheriff's badge. I
you
find
just-
them hard to keep on.
Yeah.
It's like a monocle. It's like a breast monocle.
Maybe he just identifies with him because he's a little bit gruff, I find, Al Pacino.
I'd be frightened to approach Al Pacino.
Would you?
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah, I don't know if he'd be
Would you,
warm-hearted.
Al?
I'd be less frightened now I know that he's got a Shrek phone
That's
case.
what I mean. It's very
It's
clever.
softening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, I don't think he wants. That's my whole point. He doesn't want to lose his menace. It's a bit of a Boy Named Sue type of a
Yes.
thing.
But I like it. I think it shows a confidence. The fact that he can carry around that
exactly.
Shrek. It's a bit like you liking, the sort of Doctor Who monster things. It makes me feel you've got an innate confidence that you don't feel shame over it.
Well, why would I feel shame after that?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're talking about Al Pacino and his Shrek phone case.
Well, actually, you say that, but 567 has texted Mick in Huddersfield, has said, please do not let Frank escape without revealing the contents of his pencil case. He keeps avoiding the question, which I find sinister.
It's not sinister. It's largely see-through, apart from her face on the front. That section is see-through, so you can see. Well, it's pencils, pens of all colours.
An eraser.
Always an eraser. And I like the white on one side and the grey on the other for ink. And a couple of pencil sharpeners. I think, if I remember rightly, the Brittany's got 2 or 3 paper clips in it for emergencies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And there's things like there's a Sharpie and there's a highlighter in it as well.
All right.
It's got everything a man could ever need.
Look at you out with your pencil case.
What do you think Al Pacino sleeps in?
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
I would say, great question, Frank Skinner. I can see Al. I think he might be a silk, slight Hugh Hefner, a silk pyjama
it's
set.
exactly, maybe a but certainly a silk pyjama. It's got that written all over him. What do you think, Al?
I think a Shrek onesie. I think he's really into
with
Shrek.
a hood with the antennae.
Can you imagine him all through the door going, hang on a minute.
Are they antennae on Shrek? They're sort of...
Are they horns?
Oh.
Are they? They're a bit giraffe, aren't they? They've got that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the thing about Shrek. I don't think Shrek's bad looking, but
I'll tell you what. There's the thing about Shrek. Shrek is a very good example of how Hollywood do ugly. Because Hollywood cannot cope with ugly at all. So if anyone... Do you remember Ugly Betty? That thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't ugly.
Stunning.
By normal standards.
Stunning.
And the one that always sticks in my mind is Rocky's wife, Adrian. Who they think, if we put her hair back and glasses on, she'll be ugly. No one will be able to see that she's beautiful.
She is.
But
sister of Frank.
Who
Talia
is?
Shire, Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
Is that right?
There you go. I believe that's right. If that's wrong, I'm walking.
Oh no! Don't say that.
Promise is promised.
But you don't get proper ugly people, especially I think the ladies. They don't cast them. Yeah, it's very unfair.
Would you rather have, though, be honest, the teeth are my issue with Shrek, because I could handle...
What I was going to make is that Fiona, when she goes green, still looks pretty nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Obscure crush, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Shrek is great. He still loves her. She's still okay. You know what I'm saying?
I thought Zola Budd was an odd one, Frank.
Well, we all have
gone Princess Fiona. I don't mind Shrek, actually. My issue is the teeth. If he could get his teeth fixed, because the green I can live with. The teeth, we're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm like about teeth.
I think Shrek again is supposed to epitomise ugliness. And didn't bother Colleen.
Not that bad.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Speaking of the strange merch, memorabilia, accessories, I was talking to a guy. By the way, I used to have a Pacino poster on my wall. That's just...
Can I guess which film, Al?
Yeah.
Do you want to guess?
Scarface.
I don't think he's a Scarface.
No, it was. It was a time. Do you remember I used to wear Hawaiian shirts all the time? And I think it was me trying to prove they were cool.
Oh.
I was talking to a guy at the opera who'd met Placido Domingo. Oh. And he said he had a dressing gown on when he met him. In his dressing room.
Louche.
And the pattern, when he looked at the pattern, it was... over and over again, Placido Domingo's signature. I said, do you think he bought it like that? Or someone, he obviously just didn't go into a shop and say, have you got any, can I have a look at your Placido Domingo sleepwear range? But I wonder if he bought a plain one and a Sharpie. Anyway, enough.
It's a lot of work, isn't it?
It is a lot of work.
that.
It is, but he must have a lot of time waiting when he's not on stage. I might do another half hour on the dressing gown.
Yeah, after the tech, after the sound check.
Yeah, where's my pencil case?
I love that you have a pencil case. Oh.
Isn't that normal?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Okay, we're getting some outside world in.
Okay.
Ruth Jordan is confirming Shrek doesn't have antennae, Frank.
What does he have?
Well, okay, hold your high horses and you'll find out. Those are his ears.
No. I don't think. I think he's got ears, little green ears, and then he's got those as well. Surely.
Where are the green ears?
He's got ears in the normal side of the head. Can
As
you get
he
me
does.
up a picture of Shrek?
Can you get me up? The power of the man.
Yeah, exactly. Starry demand. Can you Google image?
Okay, have a look at Shrek. Meantime, while you're doing that,
Oh, they might be his
we've
ears.
got-
Now I come
Oh.
to look at them.
Oh dear.
They might be his ears.
How quickly we've fallen.
Yeah, try such confidence. And a nice waistcoat.
Strange style icon.
Yeah, I think they
Nice
are.
waistcoat. I seem to recall it's Hessian and rough hemmed.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's tied rather than buttoned, which I've always liked.
Oh, you like that?
Yes, you like that Man United mid-90s kit.
I like
Oh, I
Detail.
remember
Do you
that.
remember
That's funny.
what I would call a Lone
remember?
Ranger. The Lone Ranger used to add a sort of a tie-up shirt instead of a button, and Robin Hood.
Yeah, and Brotherhood of Man, the band.
Did they have
yeah,
it?
No, you remember that. Right, Carl McD. Be a
Yeah.
nice friend for you.
Yeah.
You can go and drink tea together at your favourite fast food chain. Carl McD, talking about remarkable transformations, as Frank was previously, you were discussing the sort of, but they never really needed transforming, is
Oh,
what
yeah.
you were saying. When, for example, Ugly Betty.
Oh yes.
How about Plain Jane Harris from Neighbours?
Good point.
Take her glasses off. Best looking woman on earth.
I don't remember Plain Jane.
Plain
Harris.
Jane Super
Oh, it
Brain.
was a
Prettiest girl in
very big
Erinsborough.
transformation.
Ah, okay.
Don't you remember Plain Jane? She was absolute stone cold fox.
I always
Yeah.
liked Elle Robinson. I thought was the best. Elle Robinson was almost exactly. Who's the woman who was in To Die For? Married Tom Cruise. Kidman,
Okay.
Nicole Kidman. She was like an almost exact replica of her. Tucked away neighbours there, eh? But for a bit of bad luck here, a bit of good luck there, things could have been different.
Well, I was a Paul Robinson, Stefan Dennis fan, but each to his own.
Yeah.
Do you remember how she got her name? Elle Robinson?
No.
Her name was Lucinda, and she hated it so much she just used the initial.
Okay.
Oh.
That'll come in useful someday.
Yeah, that's the sort of fact.
You were a
You
bigger
know.
fan of Neighbours than I realised.
Well, in those days,
Yeah.
gone now. Has it gone? It's going.
There's a big campaign to return it, I believe.
Oh, I hate
I was a
campaigns.
massive fan of Neighbours until the bins argument.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
834, I'm sorry to rub this in. They are his ears.
Yes, I accept. I was wrong. I've been wrong before. I've owned up a few times. See, fish food restaurant. But yes, there his ears. I take it back.
813 has got in touch. Single Sound Impersonations is the name of the
Right.
missive. Hey up, you three. Oh,
That'd be a good one. That'd be Freddie Truman on Indoor League. Hey up. Or sometimes, now then. Oh, it can't be words, though,
no,
can it?
he used to say, did it say after break, lasses arrows? That was good.
Will Conrad Daniels yank himself back into the lead because he was American? That was the point.
Inspired. Oh, very good.
Go on.
Inspired by Alan's Al Pacino impression. Al?
Hoo-wah!
I love it. Whatever happened to the phenomena of impersonating celebrities with a single, instantly recognisable sound alone? For example, a semi-operatic wah, 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 wah signified Harry Seacombe. I'm not familiar with that. Are either of you?
How would that be?
Al?
Oh, I don't know.
How's it, Harris?
I'm guessing it's... Yeah.
Did he do that?
sounding.
Okay.
A camp was all you needed for Michael Crawford.
Very good, Al. That was
I'll tell you what,
absolutely
Al
on the nose.
is so on the nose this morning. I can't even. Kenneth Williams, Frank? Jimmy Tarbuck, anyone?
Ho ho!
Very good.
And Prince Charles was a simple groany sound. Al? Care
That's
to?
good.
Care to, Al? No? You happy with that?
It's a very good point that there were people done
there-
without any words at all.
No words necessary. Are there any more you can recall? That's Andy Wood from Bronte Country, West Yorkshire. Oh, Bronte Country. This is Andy. You're my kind of man.
Do you know Andy Wood?
No, but
No, but I'll bear it in mind.
well, there was Norman Vaughan
What,
was a
It's already
comedian.
gone obscure.
I mean,
Yeah.
How
He's-
far are you going back?
He had 3 catchphrases, and one of them was
Oh, yes.
yeah.
I remember it.
His other 2 catchphrases were
I've got one.
dodgy and Elsie Tanner. Don't ask me. Sometimes he'd go dodgy, Elsie Tanner. Oh, he'd do the. He'd put all his eggs in one basket as well. So Easter today. We've gone so Easter. It's fantastic. That's a very good. You know, one thing that we do on the show is, and we haven't done it this week, but
No.
we'll do it more post-Easter, is go back to subjects where people have contributed during the week, because some people are podcast listeners and stuff like that. If you've got any more sound-only impressions... chuck them in, because I enjoyed that. That was good. Who was that from again?
That was from, he's from Bronte Country. Do you remember saying it was
yes.
Andy Wood?
Of course. How could I forget that? There's probably one for Heathcliff, is there? Anyway, thank you for listening to us, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Happy Easter. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.